You know, the news can be so overwhelming, especially during a global pandemic. I don't think we can have ever predicted that coming into a new decade we will be in the midst of a global pandemic, but here we are. So I decided that the next best thing to distract our mind and to escape our current reality is by watching films and suggesting films. Okay, first one is Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is great. It really is great. It's starring Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Eva Pierce, Nicolas Cage, Chloe Grace Moretz in this wacky comedy. This film walked so Deadpool can run, and I stand by that statement. A fresh adaptation of a different superhero story. The main character is a teenage boy that doesn't absorb weird supernatural powers to become a superhero. He does it out of the kindness of his heart, and it works. It really does. And what's great about this film is that it unfolds like an actual comedy. Like, if you look at the visuals and the transitions, the edits are done purposefully, the cinematography is amazing. It's hilariously funny, you know, like there's mixture of graphic tones with awkward comedy. It's like basically the few ingredients you need to make me as a person. This is what this film is. It's one of those films you can watch with friends and know everyone will enjoy it. I don't really want to talk about this film too much because I've mentioned it in my other previous videos. But yes, The Social Network, Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, Armie Hammer, there's two of him, Justin Timberlake and Dakota Johnson. There's basically a lot of famous people. There's Brenda Song from Disney Channel. What can I say? David Fincher is a perfectionist and I really just want to be like him when I grow up. Like, his aesthetic is what inspires me as a filmmaker, and I think he is a genius in that sense. This was one of the films that I went to the cinemas for without really knowing who David Fincher was and without knowing much about film in general, because I only started to take interest in film when I turned like 18, 19. And so this is the film that I kind of went back on, rewatched, and I started to notice a lot more, especially knowing more about David Fincher and film in general. And basically it was like a whole different experience. Once you know something that you like for me it's film or directors or anything to do with that, and you go and look at something again, you begin to notice these little things. Like, I'm not watching this film for pleasure as much. I'm watching this film as like an educational thing. I'm like, oh, the director did this with this camera move, or they did this with the actors and blah, blah, blah. You know, all stuff. And it's kind of funny that The Social Network was kind of those first films I remember doing that fondly with. I think Tangled is better than Frozen. I think I have to say it. Someone has to say it, because when that Frozen hype was around, I was like, but Tangled though. Characters are so funny and lovable, like Flynn. I'm pretty sure everyone has a crush on Flynn. As much as I enjoy watching a lot of old Disney films, and obviously the classics will always be the classics, like you can't really redo them, I do really enjoy watching the newer versions of a old story. Like, I like to see what else they can do with it, and I really enjoyed how they did Tangled. So yeah, I would show this to kids, I would show this to friends. Like, honestly, I'll just show this to anyone and then hope we can have a conversation about Tangled, because I'm not having a lot of conversations about Tangled, guys. I'm really not. The Theory of Everything. Okay, hear me out. I really enjoy biographical films the same way I enjoy character-driven films. This was a time where I was very kind of obsessed with Eddie Redmayne as an actor, and so I was just watching everything that he was in. This was the first film I saw of his, and I was like, yep, cool, I like this dude. Eddie Redmayne did a brilliant job portraying him down to a T. Like, I think the chemistry between Eddie and Felicity Jones is so good, and I love how the camera captures that chemistry between them. I think this film is quite inspiring, especially at a time where things are a bit uncertain. And I am by no means a smart person. I studied film at university, but there is something quite beautiful about science and the whole mystery of it all. I also think you can tell when a film is made with a lot of love and a lot of passion. And to me, that is very important. That's what gets me to watch the film.
What's your favourite romantic comedy?
I have two. It's Notting Hill and
Natch.
yeah, so classic. And more recently, Gone Girl.
I already mentioned why I really love this film, and I don't really want to go into it too much, especially being another one of David Fincher's work, and I honestly think David Fincher is pretty much a genius to do films like this, especially this type of thriller dramatic films. This is a film I really wish I could have experienced in the cinema, because I know it's the most thrilling experience I've had in recent memory. I think it's one of Rosamund Pike's best performance. Like, I was truly captivated by her performance, and it's just, she does such an amazing job that you really can't take your eyes away from the screen. Like, it's that amazing. I've watched this film so many times and I still have to like put down my phone and like concentrate, because there's always something that I end up picking up that I didn't pick up the last time, and that's it. This film is already going to be a cult classic. If you want to feel like a kid again, I really recommend watching Big Hero 6, and it's why it's on this list, because oh my god, this film is really good, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this film. Yeah, a diverse cast, right? Bonus points already. That's a yes from me. This film it's a beautiful film and explores the themes surrounding loss, grief, and friendship, and all these things that our main character goes through. I mean, we have a Baymax, a big white cuddly kind of robot teddy bear, and I honestly think animated films are some of the best films like can be out there. You can do so much more with animation, so much more. You can be so creative with it. You can create cities, towns, a whole language. It's literally endless, and it's why I really, really love animation and animated films, and I think it's so underrated. This was around 2014, 2015 when Tumblr was really popular and a lot of YA books were really popular, especially the ones written by John Green. This film is basically a staple to like that era. This film is clearly inspired by the styles of Wes Anderson, and it's very obvious, but it works because it doesn't overdo it. This is what this film reminds me of. Do you remember Lizzie McGuire in the early 2000s, and she had a little mini Lizzie? That's what this film kind of reminds me of. That's what they try to do, basically. This film feels very natural, like everything feels really natural, and no one's overdoing it with the acting or with the dialogue or with like anything. Like, yeah, the tones of Wes Anderson are very in your face, but it doesn't feel like doing too much of it. It feels like, okay, I can see why you took this and how it kind of links to the character, because it's supposed to be quirky and, you know, basically The Fault in Our Stars 2.0 version, but less kids dying and very more grounding and realistic.
The Oscar goes to Brie Larson.
I read the book right after seeing this film, and I can safely say both drew me in and made me sit there being like, what the hell? Like, what actually? Room? I feel like she won an Academy Award for this, but no one really talks about Room. I like to watch films that can take something so simple as like a room or one setting, very limited cast, and see what the filmmaker can do. I like seeing what the filmmaker can do. I like seeing what the actors can do, like how they can portray these type of roles, especially roles that are very demanding on being very emotional. This is one of those films that I stress that comes with a trigger warning, and I do believe you have to be in the right mindset to watch this film. It is very emotional and a very heavy type of film. What more is it to say? Just, yeah, this film, yeah. Film is very objective. You don't have to like this film, and that's fine. I encourage anyone, especially myself, to always watch something and then form their own opinion, especially when it comes to like films that are dubbed cult classics and whatever. But this film really blew my mind as someone who, not only do I love film, but I also love music and music history so very much. I mean, there's so much to say about this film. The opening scene being done in one take, it's just amazing. I don't want to know how long it took to perfect that, because that would annoy me as a perfectionist. Mia, Sebastian meet, they start this amazing love affair. But then, you know, the real question is, which is stronger, their love for each other or their dreams that they want to pursue? It's a film about a melodramatic, jealous, self-hating, bratty, pretentious girl, which, if they really wanted me to act in this film, they just could have called. They didn't need to hire Haley Steinfeld. I could have simply just been in this film. I really enjoyed Haley Steinfeld's character's relationship with the teacher, her friendship with the teacher. I think we've all been at this phase in life, especially as like a teenage girl, with a rocky relationship with a family member or whoever it is at the time, because things start to become more daunting and a bit scary, because, you know, 17 is that weird, awkward age. Like, everyone gets excited to turn 16, yeah, great, but then no one really is excited to turn 17. They're like, oh, okay. I even encourage like my guy friends to watch this film. I'm like, you need to watch this, it's important. It's not cringy, it's not, you will cringe at bits, at certain little teeny bits, but overall it's just a really great film, and I think everyone should watch it. I actually love graphic films. I honestly think Logan is the perfect ending to an amazing character. Not only do you see his growth through the whole franchise of the X-Men, but you also see how that has affected him, especially in his final moments. Everything comes to an end, especially with our beloved characters that we've all grown up and seen, and we have to come to terms with saying goodbye to them because nothing really lasts forever. Hugh Jackman is probably the perfect person to cast as the Wolverine. You know, I think he's a brilliant actor, and there's only a few actors that can actually portray a fictional character so well that they almost become that character. Robert Downey Jr., he is Iron Man at this point, like we know. Tom Holland, he is the perfect Spider-Man Peter Parker. Like, Margot Robbie is the perfect Harley Quinn. Like, I remember sitting in the silence after finishing this film in the cinema, followed by a holy shit, okay. And then I could not stop thinking about this film for weeks. Alongside Edge of 17, that really portrays teenage chaos authentically, Ladybird is up there as well. This was Greta Gerwig's directional debut film, and I think she did a really good job. I think this film is just really universal. It isn't trying so hard to be something that it knows it's not. I think the mother and daughter relationship are quite hard to pinpoint, especially in a lot of films, but I think this one was quite real. I think Greta Gerwig, she's so talented and so clever. This was an indie budget film. Like, it had basically little to almost no money, and it done so well, so well. I think we all wanted a Kyle at some point in our lives, and ladies and the gays, let's not do that. Okay, 2020 and onwards, we don't want a Kyle. There's a lot of mixed reviews on this film, and I understand why, because it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But personally, I really enjoy this film. It's a very dark humor film. There's a lot of tense moments, gut-punching moments, sad moments, and then there's funny moments, so it really all balances out. The acting from everyone was really incredible. I think Frances McDormand stole the show, and I'm so glad she was in this film. I mean, the entire cast was basically a 10 out of 10. Like, we have Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell, Peter Dinklage, John Hawkes, Lucas Hedges. It's a lot of actors who are very good but also very underrated. The premise of this film, as it goes, is about a grieving mother whose daughter gets brutally raped and murdered, and all she's trying to do is find out whoever did this, but the police in the town are quite incompetent, so she tries to take matters to her own hands by putting up these 3 billboards. This film is raw, it's gritty, there are some scenes that just leave you speechless, and to be honest, after I saw this film, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Another film that I found to be quite brilliant was this film. I think Margot Robbie is amazing in this film. She does completely steal the show. You get to see Sebastian Stan, who immerses himself in the character that you kind of forget it's Sebastian Stan. So if you already don't know the real story that inspired this film, I didn't either until I went to watch it, but I'll make it very brief. Tonya Harding was a professional figure skater, and all she wanted to do was be America's best figure skater. She is known to do this trick, and it's only ever been successfully done by her, called the triple axel, and it's one of the scenes in the film that's quite mesmerizing, and it's kind of a sad film because you begin to realize that this was a woman who was loved by America at one point and then completely hated. Like, she was hated. Basically, this film is a wild ride, and this is just something that you should watch. Again, I've mentioned in my other film related videos that I'm not really a big horror fan, and I talked about why I really do like A Quiet Place, so I don't want to repeat myself. I will have that video linked or in the eye somewhere on the screen, so there's that. I always look out for films that do something different, something unique, and when the trailer for this came out, I didn't hesitate for a second. I knew I had to go and see this film, but not alone, because I am a child. Films that focus on an emotional value are so high up on my lists of why I need to watch these films. It's why I enjoy a lot of coming of age films, drama films, thrillers, because not only does it challenge the filmmaker, but it also challenges the actor. John Krasinski, who a lot of people know from The Office, he wrote and produced this film. I think what stood out for me the most when watching this film was the attention to detail. The path surrounding the house is covered by sand, like the way they walk, it's like on a sand trail because it doesn't make sound. And this was a really refreshing way to make a horror film. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's been so many Spider-Man films. Why do they keep making them? And you're correct, why do they keep making them? But also, I'm glad that they're still making them, because then we wouldn't have this film. Miles Morales as a black Spider-Man is really what we need right now. Just look at the visuals of this animation. Like, it's a beautiful art. I don't think at this point we should not be sleeping on it. We should do a lot more animated stuff. It's just a nicer world to live in, actually. I'm going to read what IMDb has for this film. On the eve of their high school graduation, two academic superstars and best friends realize they should have worked less and played more. Determined not to fall short of their peers, the girls tried to cram 4 years of fun into one night. I am so proud of Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Denver. Like, Caitlin has been in a lot of good shit recently. She's been in a lot of good films and series, and she's just really underrated actress. She does a really good performance. Beanie, being her first like main character breakout role, does a really great performance. Like, everyone in this film does a really good performance. Olivia Wilde did such a great job at directing this and gathering a really good cast, and yeah, it's just amazing. It's just, yeah, it's good. It's good. What else is it to say? It's good. Finishing this video with one more Greta Gerwig film. At this point, I'm just a massive fan. I'm really excited to see what she does next. The last film, Little Women, I think I can vouch for anyone watching this who's from the UK. We don't know the story of Little Women. I didn't know anything about Little Women. When I saw this trailer come out, especially seeing Saoirse Ronan, Timothée Chalamet, Meryl Streep, I had so many emotions when I went to see this film in the cinema. I cried so many times, both happy and sad. I smiled so hard that my cheeks were hurting. It was such a good film. And the best way I can describe this film is, imagine you are standing in an art museum, like you're standing in an art museum and you're looking ahead of you at this beautiful piece of art, and then suddenly the art begins to move with all its beauty intact. That is Little Women. That's how I can describe this film. Wrapping up this video, I thought I would add some honourable mentions of films that I want to talk about more, but I don't want to keep making these type of videos all the time. And that is the end of the video. If you got in this far to the video, thank you. I really do mean it. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe and share the video. If you actually like this video, like the video, give me a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments if this is the type of video you want to see. If you like me talking more about films and stuff, make sure to follow my letterboxd. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you soon.